As you can see, I love me some books that are based on video games. One of which you might know is the Sonic Show's Book of Almost Everything, which we published for our 9th anniversary. And you can go on to like chapters and type in my name and it comes up for me. So we're not here to talk about our book today though. No, we're just gonna put this over here. We're here to talk about Hardcore Gaming 101's the 200 best video games of all time, which they so graciously lent us a review copy of. That's right, we're doing book reviews. For those of you who don't know, Hardcore Gaming 101 is a website with both informational articles and reviews on games obscure and famous. Now with a loaded title like the top 200 best games of all time, you'd think it'd be pretty hefty, but the nice thing is, it's actually ordered in a very intelligent way. First off, the most important thing is that the order is not set. It is not a top 200 from number 200 to number 1. Instead, it's organized in a way that smoothly transitions from genre to genre, which is a very nice change. And they say that's actually because they don't want people to think that the one at the bottom is worth less than the one at the top, and that all these games deserve to be looked at, which is a brilliant thing. So the genres covered are, and I need a script for this because I'm not going to memorize all of these. It goes early arcade, so like Pac-Man, to classic platformers like Sonic, to action platformers like Mega Man X, to the Vanias, the action RPGs, shooters, fighting games, beat-em-ups, 3D fighters, adventure games, visual novels, western RPGs, JRPGs, tactical games, shooters, racing games, and then the weird other ones like Space Channel 5 and Punch-Out that can't really go anywhere. The only ones that are not covered in this are the ones that are exclusively multiplayer. So the MMORPGs and the MOBAs, which honestly, I don't like those games, so that's fine by me. But also it makes sense because it's so subjective with, you know, you're not going to find someone who likes one more than the other for the same reasons because it's all social interaction based. Weird that fighters are included, but I guess those do have at least some single player aspect. The types of games covered in this book are huge and diverse. I mean, we got games all the way from like the ancient arcades and Atari to games that I'm like Rodeo the Sky Warrior. That's what it's called, right? Sky Warrior? Sky Soldier. I haven't played it yet, sorry Fuad. That's mentioned in this, and it's like, the fact that that's in it, I'm pretty sure it came out like the day this was finished publishing because it's so weird, it's so new, and it actually goes in depth with it. That's crazy. You know, it is from literally the start of gaming to the day it was published, which is awesome. You got AAA titles, you got indie titles, you got fan games and ROM hacks. Everything's covered, and if you're only into one of those, it'll be nice because you get such a big, diverse array of games that you've never heard of, but in addition to all the ones that you love. The articles themselves, written by a small handful of people, show so much love put into the games. You can tell that each person in them has actually played the games themselves. They know the ins and outs, the goods and the bads, and they're not afraid to bring up the bads. No game is perfect, and I like that, but the way they describe it is almost like a Hitchcock film, where it's a very sophisticated way. They not only assume you're a gamer, but they assume highly of you. They don't talk down to you, which is something I really like, and that I wish more books related to games would do, because so many of them treat gamer as some lower level thinker, when like these talk about them like they're high forms of art, which I'd argue some of them definitely are, like Okami. There's others like God Hand, which I would argue, well, maybe not, but no, definitely for some, I would say they are forms of art. And they talk about them as such. That was a long pause. Something I really enjoy, that I think some people might not, is how this book has like laser-guided precision to skip the games that you think would be on a list of top 200 best games of all time. So for instance, you know, when you hear someone say, you know, the best games of all time, the ones that jump into your head just because of their legacy are like Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy VII, and Half-Life 2. You know, like those are the ones that everyone brings up, right? This one, for the most part, skips over the ones that are obvious. Instead, there's actually a section at the bottom that says See Also, that lists other games related to the ones they wrote the full articles on. There might be one or two in there, but it's more like a, if you like this game, try this one, and that's what the majority of those ones are. Ocarina of Time is never mentioned in this book, which astounds me, but I like that, because it's more personalized. You know, like the author said, I like Link's Awakening more than I like Ocarina of Time. That has a full article, and that's so personalized. Like, I know for me, I like Final Fantasy V more than 7, by a long shot. that gets a full article. Final Fantasy VII gets a single mention. I really like that because it is so much more personalized. It's not like every single list of top 200 or whatever games of all time. This one is really personal, which is so nice. You feel the connection with the authors, which I love. Some people might not like that, you know? Your favorite game probably isn't in here. Mine is. Love me some Shovel Knight. But yours might not be. It might be relegated to a single mention. It might not be mentioned at all. Sorry, Sonic Adventure 2 fans, it's not in here. But there's still so much that there's at least 10 games in here that you've played and love, and you can be like, you know, I deeply feel you. This feeling you're deeply feeling when you read it. At the very end of the book, there's a small section of 40 or so games that I don't know whether it was they didn't have the time, the money, the space, whatever, that simply get a rather meaty paragraph of information, but they don't get a full article. There's 5 on each page, I think there's 40 of them, and for the most part, they're fine. They're games that don't really need as much talking, you know, ones that are still definitely worth mentioning, but they're either too new, like Undertale's in there, or stuff has already been said about them, like Marvel vs. Capcom 1 is in there, and that's fine. There's so much information already in the book. This small section at the end feels almost like an honorable mentions page. That doesn't bother me that the games in there don't get the full thing, but it's still nice that they're there, for sure. Now, the front and the back covers are where this book truly shines, both figuratively and literally. Literally on the fact that the book is actually a semi-glossy material. It's nice. It feels good in the hand, which is very nice. If you're reading a physical book, you want it to feel good. I will say the ink feels a little heavy, but for the most part, it feels like a good, solid book. The material on the pages is a little different than normal. It feels, again, a little inky, but it's a thicker paper, not like construction paper, but a happy medium between regular and like book paper, and it's really nice. It feels good, and we got some beautiful art on both sides by Thor Thorvaldstein, or Thorvald? How's it? Thor Thorvaldsson, which is the coolest name ever, and your parents are so lucky to have the opportunity to give you the name Thor twice. I love it. It looks so good on your shelf, on a coffee table, in the bathroom, and of course we have our blue blur Sonic right there in the very middle. I mean, where else would you put him? Duh. Now, as this is the Sonic Show, we have to discuss the elephant, or rather, the hedgehog in the room, as to how much Sonic content is in it. As I said, he is on the center. Look at him right there. That's actually, I love that picture. It's so good. How much is there in here? So the question is, how much Sonic is actually in this book? And the answer is there are 3 specific games mentioned. 2 of them get full articles, and 1 of them is relegated to a C also. Now, despite this, Sonic actually gets a lot of mentions in other game articles, though. Mostly in terms of if it's a 90s platformer, saying how it, you know, tried to be Sonic but then went its own direction, or but it still couldn't compete with Sonic. Sonic is definitely brought up a lot, and a lot of games in here not only are related to Sonic, but have Sonic in it in other ways, you know, Knights, Smash Bros. So Sonic is in there a lot. They love their Sega, though. There is a lot of Sega, so if you're a Sega fan, this is definitely for you. In addition, they also have a book before this, which was the Essential Guide to Sega Arcade Classics, Volume 1, meaning there's going to be more Sega Arcade Classic books, meaning there's no shortage of Sega stuff from hardcore gaming. So if you're into that, check out either of these books, because for sure, you'll like it. So all in all, where do I place this book? I love it. As I said, I love books based off of video games that I can leave around. For me, this book feels like, and this might seem like a bad comparison, but trust me when I say this with as much love as I can, this is my perfect bathroom reader book. Because I could just leave it in the bathroom, someone comes in, they sit down, they see the book, their cell phone is in the other room, they pick it up, they read it, they flip to a random page. You can flip to any page in here and get a full article and then a C also. So if it's a game you've heard of, you can read it and be like, oh yeah, I love this. What are some other games like it? If it's a game you never heard of, read about it, you know? It's so perfect for bathrooms or coffee tables for people to just pick up and read. Like, I think it's great. It's super eye-catching. It serves its purpose. I think it is super recommended for almost any gamer who has a table or bathroom to put it there. I wouldn't say this is a bookshelf book, because just the way it is, I wouldn't read it from start to finish, but to have it just around and have people pick it up curiously and read it when they're over, that's what this is for, and it's awesome. And as such, there is a digital version of it, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. I think the physicality is a big part of it because of that social aspect of it. It's so cool, and honestly, it's not that expensive. On Amazon, you can pick it up for, I think, $30, at least that's what I was when I last checked it. It might be different now. And for the amount of content you get, and for the amount of potential icebreakers at parties and stuff, I think is very worth it. Even if you don't have the money, please go and support Hardcore Gaming 101, the website. Go to them, turn off ad block. Don't you put ad block on. I'll know. And go check them out. Support them. It's a great website. They know their stuff. They remind me why I love gaming. And as such, I will not give this book an arbitrary score, but instead will gladly say it is in my top 200 best video game books of all time, but not in the See Also section. See you guys next time. Ciao. And now back to some fine reading. Not this. Back to this. Whew. Oh. Is that even legal? Oh, it's a flip book now. Oh. I love video games.